So thank you for waiting. We are now ready to start.
Ready to rise to the challenge and take the lead in the future of Europe.
Welcome, welcome to all both. I'm sorry, but there is something not working well in the microphone. Okay, it's working. Let me introduce very quickly myself. My name is Bruno Dardani. I work for several years as a correspondent for the leading Italian financial newspaper on the matter regarding logistics and shipping traffic all around the world. And German colleague. I have to be very straight and very brief because the time is not too much for us to be spent together this morning, because I just wanted to emphasize one basic concept. For several times, I had to attend the international meeting by saying that there is a southern gate for the European continent. Now something is not quiet on the southern route. I mean, something's changing, and all the protagonists, all the players will witness this morning that something very deeply is changed in this on this route, and that the Med and the Southern Gate is not any longer a dream, but can become a reality in a short, medium range. Let me immediately introduce the first speaker, Andrea Benveduti, Counselor for Economic Development of the Liguria region, for a short address. I'm so sorry, I have to say to everybody short address because they told me that timing for me is terrible.
No problem. Guten Morgen, ich begrüße euch alle auch im Namen der Regionpräsident Giovanni Totti. Ich freue mich sehr, heute hier zu sein und die Entwicklung unserer Logistik- und Hafensystem anführen zu können. Good morning to everybody. I'm really happy to be here this morning, and I bring you the greetings also from the whole Liguria region and also from our president, Giovanni Totti. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to quickly introduce, and the people who will speak after me will go more in details about the development of our region and all the plans, the infrastructural investment. At the moment, we have in the area around 10 billion euro ongoing. And I have to say, we are really trying to orchestrate all together a winning performance. That means a coordinated playing of all the different segments in our logistic chain. That means not only the big investment in the new breakwater. We laid the first stone last week. It's a huge investment, around 1.5 billion, and also technological challenge. And going to the coast, we have development of the ports, of the railway system, the new tunnel connecting Genoa to the north across the mountains, and all the infrastructures that will be named in the following discussion. So it's a really huge opportunity for bringing our region in a new century and opening and reopening and strengthening the connections, the traditional connections between our coast, our commerce, our trading system, and the rest of Europe. So I hope having been enough quick, and I leave you the floor for the rest of the morning. Thank you very much and enjoy our discussions.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me introduce now the mayor of Genoa, Marco Bucci. Is a very well-known person, not just in Italy, because he fought a very hard battle against the bureaucracy, and is a very well-known all around, I can say, Europe, because he was able to rebuild the essential motorway bridge in Genoa in a short time against any pessimistic forecast. Mr. Bucci.
Good morning, all of you, and raise to the challenge and take the lead for the future of Europe. This is what is going on right now in the city of Genoa and in the port of Genoa. This is a substantial change that is due to the way and the history of our city. Genoa is a strip of land in between the hills and the sea. There was no choice since 2000 here than develop ourselves on the sea. There was no other choice. And we did with the history. We did a lot of things in the past. In the 1600, Genoa was the richest city in the world. And now it's time to take the challenge again and work hard in order to achieve a substantial leadership in the south of Europe. We have been able to achieve more than 10 billion of euros investment. The breakwater, railways, highways, transportation, public transportation inside the city, regeneration of our cities in, for example, the waterfront area. The architect Renzo Piano worked very well with us in order to regenerate very piece of the cities, and we are going to have total new way of living in the city, working in the city, and enjoy the environment. So this is a very exciting time for us. We really believe we can accomplish a good work in making sure that the south of Europe, the gateway of the south of Europe, can be represented by the city of Genoa and the business that we're going to increase in the future. Looking at the growth means really having a vision of the city, understand what we have to do, and making sure that with the synergy of the people around us, administration, investor, citizen, environment, and all the other key portion of the city can work together to achieve the same goal. Being aligned, in my opinion and in our opinion, is the way to go in the world of today, and most important, in the world of tomorrow. So 10 billion will allow us to really make a revolutionary change. Keep in mind that Genoa is the closest point of water to the center of Europe. In any place from the center of Europe, if you want to go to the water south, the closest point is the city of Genoa. As a matter of fact, in the past, Genoa has been used for cargos, has been used for transferring people. With people, you got the culture also, and now we got the internet cable. The major internet cable are landing in Genoa right now in order to go up north and achieve Frankfurt, where we got the European hub of the internet and the world of the data communication. So the cable now are landing in Genoa. This is a big development for our city. I really want to give you the excitement that we have in the city right now, the way that we demonstrated that we can accomplish things, we can make it happen, and the amount of resources that we have right now to play in order to achieve the goal. I'm very excited on that. The city is very excited on that. We are ready to go and take the lead in order to achieve the future of Europe. We really have a nice place to live, but this is not enough. We want to also be professional in making sure that we are achieving the goal. I want to conclude my very short speech wishing the best of our city, but most important, making sure that the investors, the commercial people, the people that are taking the lead for the business can get their own goals and achieve their own investment and return of the investment. If we do that, we accomplish also the goal of the citizen, the goal of the administration, the goal of the people that are living in our city. So we are ready to take the challenge and making the future of the south of Europe. Genoa will be the most important gateway of the south of Europe. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marco Bucci. Let me introduce Paolo Emilio Signorini, from the man with the dream, Marco Bucci, to the man with the challenge ahead to be win in a short time. Please.
Welcome to everybody. It is very nice to see all these people in the stand. I think that it is also nice to be back after 4 years of the pandemic. We couldn't have the exhibition, but as you can see, people are really enjoying the opportunity to meet, to do networking, and to share what we did in the last 4 or 5 years. I think the real message of being here together. We can enter into the details, but I think that the most important thing to do is to share our vision and to see if we are grounded with our feet, we are serious in our commitment, and we can reach our global goal. I have a few slides that I think that can help my explanation in that. The first thing is that, of course, is a very well-known question. Why do we talk about maritime transportation? We talk about that because it is by far the most relevant transport mode that we have in the world. By far, you can see from the data, and it is not going to change. Of course, the train is important, road is important, air is important, but basically, we have seen that with the pandemic, most of this mode, intermodal mode, had to reduce their operation, but maritime transportation never stopped. And it is essential for the economy, for international trade to develop. What are the main lessons, the main goals from the European Union about ports and core ports? Let's talk about the main corridor that is concerning Genoa and Western Europe, which is the Rhine-Alpine corridor. In the Rhine-Alpine corridor, we have 8 ports. 7 ports are on the northern range. 1 port is in Genoa. As the mayor was saying before, Genoa is really the biggest port on the Western Mediterranean, so close to the heart of Europe. Which is the main objective for the European Union concerning the Port of Genoa? Is having a better accessibility. We have to improve both maritime and land accessibility. Those are the main objectives that the European Union has given to us. And we also have some bottlenecks on the rail network from the port, reaching the Alps, crossing the Alps, and then reaching the internal markets of Europe. This is a picture of 1926, when the existing breakwater in Genoa was constructed. As you can see, it was a very naive way, but at that time, that was the only way to have a breakwater in our port. You can see, on the top of the picture, you see the passenger terminal that in 1920, most of the people going to the US or to the Southern America was leaving from Genoa. And that was the size of the ships at that time. Now, in the same place, this is the terminal, and this is the place where the boat in the previous picture was so small, so tiny. Now, this is the size of the ship that this is, of course, a cruise ship that are in the same position. So you see how the ships have changed, but the breakwater that you can see there, it is always the breakwater that was built in 1926. Now you understand why the European Union said that the objective for the Port of Genoa is to have a better accessibility, to improve maritime accessibility. I think that we cannot have a better picture of this message. This is another example. You can see with the letter B, an existing ship that can enter the channel according to the existing breakwater. And this is almost a 5,000 TEU ship. What we want to have in this part, of course, in other part of the Port of Genoa, we have the 16,000, 18,000. But in this side, what we want to have is the ship with the letter E, which is a 18 TEU. And as you can see from the picture today, we could not have this kind of accessibility. And we want to change that. This is the new layout of the breakwater. As you can see, there is much more space to enter the channel, and we have an evolution basin, which is much more easy to maneuver for the ships. But also speaking about Europe, and I think that what I'm going to say in the next 2 minutes, it is of paramount importance for this exhibition, for being in Munich, and for talking about transportation and logistics. What I will show you in a few seconds is the biggest transport revolution that we had in Europe in the last 100 years. As you know, Italy is separated from the heart of Europe because of the Alps. The Alps are magnificent mountain change, but speaking about transportation, of course, they are a great barrier. What we are doing since the beginning of the 20s is to build 4 very big tunnels that are going to integrate the European economy into Europe. Those are not just infrastructure to link different markets. This is a way, because of the performance of this infrastructure, to integrate. This is the Brenner, and it will be completed in 2032. The Gotthard with the Lötschberg and the Monteceneri is already in operation. 20 billion euros have been spent with the Gotthard. The Turin-Lyon will be completed in 2030, another 12 billion euro. And what we call the third bypass behind Genoa will be completed by 2025, is under construction. We will have a flat railway from our port to the heart of Europe. More than 50 billion euro have been spent, and we are doing this project now, and this is going to be the biggest revolution, the biggest change in transportation from our ports to the heart of Europe. This is really the biggest change. Which is the other very important message? We don't want to have what you see in this picture, Rastatt tunnel accident in 2017, the bridge of Genoa collapsed in 2018. Those 2 accidents were a tragedy per se, but much more than that, they have made clear that Europe was totally unprepared. The Rastatt accident really put on our knees the German economy, French economy, the Netherlands economy, the Italian economy, because for a few months there was no connection between the north and the south, and we didn't have plan B. We cannot afford in the future this kind of exhibition. We cannot afford not to have a plan B. That's why I'm going to conclude. We are investing in the breakwater, we are investing in the third pass tunnel, but we are also investing in the last mile rail, and we are investing in the last mile road. We have to have a totally separated last mile accessibility, both for rail and land to our port, to have a plan B and to avoid congestion. Intermodality, as you can see, is growing, but it needs to grow much more. We have to almost 17 the rail modal split. Of course, we want to increase very much. And the last slide, of course, is about sustainability. This is the website of the European Climate Infrastructure and Environment Executive Agency. And this is about shore supply, electricity, shore supply to the ships. We started in 2015. All the ports in Europe are committed to that. We know that we have to be very efficient, but we also have to be very sustainable. So we are trying to do all what you have seen in a sustainable way. That's our goal, that's our main challenge for the future. But I think that for all the things that you have seen, we are on the right track. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the President of the Genoa Port Authority. There is another further consideration. For the first time, all around the world, they speak very frankly that central med interest, and might be our task. I invite my colleague, Thomas Fromm, to join us and to introduce the first round.
Well, thank you very much, Bruno. Yes, my name is Thomas Fromm, and Bruno and I am going to lead you through this hopefully very interesting morning. And we really have some very interesting panelists here. We have representatives from the industry. We do have representatives from the ports and shipping industry. I think altogether we should get in about an hour or so a very complete picture of what the situation of Genoese logistics is like now. And there should be some people now on the screen, because we have with us today Matteo Bianchi. There he is. He's logistic manager at Lavazza. Then we have Alberto Chandra, not yet in the picture. He's supply chain manager at Ferrero. And last but not least, we have Andrea Maronjo here, who is managing director.
Good morning.
Of VSL, Verband Spedition Logistik Baden-Württemberg. I would pass the microphone over to my colleague Bruno now, because he's going to present the other panelists. Thank you.
Okay, later on, after the first panel discussion, we will have a panel discussion focused on port and shipping industry, and we will have Juan Paulo Richards Bravo, Region South of Europe, Senior Managing Director of the Hapag-Lloyd, Matthias Müller, Region South of Europe, Business Administration, Senior Director, Hapag-Lloyd, Alessandro Maldina, Managing Director, Central South of Europe, Maersk, Marco Donati, General Manager, Cosco Shipping Lines, Italy, Massimiliano Riccardi, Worldwide Ports, Terminal and Logistic Director, Messina Line, and last but not least, Roberto Ferrari, CEO, PSA Italy. We can start from the first panel discussion. I will invite to join us Andrea Maronjo, if you want.
Well, I would, yes, Maria Maronjo. Andrea Maronjo, please.
I will sit with him just to avoid to leave him alone.
Well, you have the freedom to choose. At that point, I would like to do the first question to Mr. Bianchi, though, because he's all alone there. I don't know exactly where. It looks like Turin, is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is on my back. There's Turin.
Yeah.
That is our city where Lavazza was born 1895. So pretty old now.
In fact, I can see the old town of Turin.
Yeah.
Mr. Bianchi, Lavazza, roasting beans in Turin is one thing, but shipping them to Turin from all over the world, from Middle America, from Vietnam, from wherever, from Ethiopia, is a totally different thing. Can you give us, just to start with, a little insight on the travel route of a coffee bean?
Yeah, sure. You know, during last years, we spoke a lot of changing supply chains, etc. For sure, coffee we cannot, as coffee grows in the tropical belt. So the countries, basically the countries you have said, and others. And the route, in our case, and the most of industry, starts from FOB. So as counterparties, we have traders, shippers, different producers of coffee. Then coffee is shipped in containers. During the last year, someone also thought to ship in break bulk or bulk, but then it's no more the way of shipping coffee today, even if someone did. Otherwise, it's all in container. In our case, the route involves 12,000 TEUs per year, more or less. The most is concentrated in the area of Genoa. As you said, currently we are in Turin, so we have two main factories in our area in Piedmont. So like 10,000 containers we import to Genoa, and then there's 1,000 or something like this to France, to south of France, where we have another factory. But for sure, in our case, the capacity of Genoa ports, is also interesting for us for sure, Vado Ligure, and the fact that the ports, I think, make more and more system is strategic. No, because it's our natural port, and we for sure the development you mentioned can be only good for us in terms of accessibility.
That would be my next question, Mr. Bianchi. The developments that are taking place in Genoa, the investments that are ongoing, what does those developments mean for your own planning, for your own business?
For our own planning, there's the hope and the certitude for sure. Even better than now services. I think that the services are quite good already, but for sure the perspective to increase the capability probably of berthing of bigger vessel, or the safety also with the new investment in Genoa can be only good for us in terms of taking advantage by better services. Already, I have to say, also the investment in Vado Ligure has been for sure interesting, because in any case we are always used to think to the different ports for sure, but I can think that in our area in Liguria there's quite a unique concentration of port capability, also compared to other countries in the south of Europe.
That brings me to another idea. Could you just randomly provide us with a number? How many tons of coffee beans do we find on an average day in the port of Genoa?
Look, if we take the 10,000 containers per year and we divide per 12, we have more or less 800, 1,000 container, depending on the month. And in each container we have, unfortunately, it's quite heavy, the coffee, so the shipping lines sometimes don't like too much, but in any case we have like 20 tons per container. So in tons, if we take 1,000, we have 10,000 tons per month apparently arriving, or a bit less. That is more, and then there are the others, because there's not only Lavazza. For sure, Italy is also coffee. I think after Germany is the second importer of coffee in Europe. Then also Belgium, quite important, but for sure is transit country. But also Italy is not only the coffee we import is for Italy, because first of all we roast and then re-export. Then this is also an important point. Not only Lavazza, but the entire industry. But then there's also the transit of coffee to other European countries.
Thank you very much. I was trying to calculate and figure out how much cups of espresso those might be. I didn't handle the calculation.
You know, the capsules, then we have the beans, the roast and ground, and then all the other way we drink coffee. So for sure is a big quantity. But then every time we look at coffee, even if we feel to be big, we always discover there's always someone bigger, and fortunately people like very much coffee. So there's space for great volumes, also in terms of import, and it has all to go by sea. That can be good, can be less good in bad times, but it is how it is. So by definition, coffee is very linked to shipping, ports, etc.
Listen, Bruno Dardani speaking.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. I just wanted to add one question. Are you interested in developing highly specialized infrastructure, such as it happened in the Port of Vado, or as well in the Port of Genoa, or no?
But you see, in Vado Ligure, with a local partner we have, and for sure, a company like Pacorini made a huge investment in the area, for sure, very focused on coffee and also on our flows as they build or they renew an old silo in Vado Ligure. So I can say it's for sure a very good story in that case of also requalification, of redevelopment of an area, but they can do already big volume. So maybe it's difficult to replicate in other points. But I think also more and more we move also in Italy coffee or containers by train in some cases, and this would be for sure a good point of development, further development, also for the accessibility to our ports for the Central Europe.
Thank you very much. One conclusive remarks. Thank you very much from all of us, because you provide a splendid your coffee.
Thank you very much to you for the opportunity and for enjoying coffee with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and hi to Turin. So let's pass the word on to Andrea Marongi. You're from Verband Spedition in Baden-Württemberg. That's the Association of Logistic Companies in the southwest of Germany, Stuttgart, Stoccada in Italiano, I suppose. So you're in the middle of logistics. You kind of, I mean, to bring things from A to C, people have to get across B, because you're B in the middle of it all, I suppose. What role does Genoa play in your calculations, in your plans, in your business plans? Who are your clients? What are they bringing?
Okay, thank you very much. Buongiorno a tutti. Schönen guten Morgen zusammen. Schön, dass wir uns heute hier treffen. I will start with my personal link to the Port of Genoa, because I am the lucky guy whose parents come from Sardinia. And so since 1970, one time per year, I am there in Sardinia, always passing through Genoa. My business relationship with Genoa started around about 10 years ago. We organized a Day of the Italian Ports, well organized by the Italian Chamber. I see here Andretta and Marini. And 12 years ago, oh, okay, the Italian ports are coming for presentation to Stuttgart. Then I learned the Italian ports, no, they are the Ligurian ports, and they are the ports from the Adria. And then I thought, okay, these are the Ligurian ports. No, this is Genova, this is Savona. And very Silvio Ferrando, he took a lot of homework 10 years ago. And today we must say Genoa did this homework. There are now ports of Genoa. And the question was how to get there. What about informations? What about the customs system? And we saw it a few months ago. There's a very modern terminal, and all these things are now working well. So homework's done, and now we have go on pushing. It's very important for me to say this here in Bayern, that Baden-Württemberg is now #1 in exchange with Italy. Years ago, it was Bayern. Now it's Baden-Württemberg with 34 billion of exchange. It's sixth place. Italy is the sixth place for the economic exchange in export, and third place in import. It's very interesting, because I like more to speak about this ranking and not the football ranking.
Very bad news for Bavaria, though. They're not used to be #2 here. You know that?
Excuse me?
Very bad news for Bavaria, but they are not very used to be #2.
We'll see. We'll go on fighting.
How do you foresee German, southwest German relations and northern Italian relations? Is there going to be strength? Are you going to strengthen the relations, economic relations in the future? And how do you prepare for that?
I'm sure the statistics are grow 50%, and I think it will go on. I hope so. We have very strong relations to Lombardia, Veneto, Piemonte, and I think it will go on.
I read some of your interviews that you gave in the press in Stuttgart, and you were talking about a big problem that we have these days. That is the lack of truck drivers. So the business is running out of truck drivers. Looks like we're going to have a lack of around about 60,000 during the next years in Germany. This is a lot. How dramatic is the situation, and what does that mean? Can we expect that at one point in time we're going to have containers in the port of Genoa and other ports that don't find their way to the north because there aren't any truck drivers anymore? And how can we resolve the problem?
Okay, this is one of our problems. Let me start. We have in Germany, we started with the biggest transformation ever in the logistics sector, driven by sustainability. We are working in Baden-Württemberg to have 50% of our transports with zero-emission vehicles. One problem for our enterprises. Then we have the problems. We don't find any grounds in Baden-Württemberg, in Germany, for doing logistics. It's very, very hard to get these grounds for doing logistics. I saw in Genoa, it's much more easier. So I saw it. The problem of drivers, yes, we have in Baden-Württemberg 400,000 people working in the logistics sector. It's 10% of the people working in Baden-Württemberg are working in the logistics sector. And we're always looking and searching for employees. It's very hard to find it. Not only drivers, sales, marketing, wherever you look, we are looking for apprentice, traineeship people. We have 40,000 places now at the moment. We can find the people, the young people for these training places. Okay, your question for the drivers. 60,000, not in short term. Right now, we are missing in Germany 56,000 drivers. Will we get the situation like in Great Britain? No, I don't think so. In Germany, a colleague of you from UK said, success driven by panic. We are always very pessimistic here in Germany. I remember 2021, at the beginning of the year, oh, this will be a catastrophic year. At the end, record. 2022, same situation at the beginning. Catastrophic at the end, record. Now, 2023, it's up. 2023, it's up to you. Look here, I see and feel only good vibes. No, there will be solutions. At the beginning, we have to pay much more than we do now.
Yes,
much more.
So that means that logistic is going to become more expensive in the long run, right?
Yes, much more expensive than we do now. Then next year, we will start with a toll in Germany. It's 84% more than we are paying now. Calculate this. Next year, the toll on our highways will amount 84%. What's the solution? We have in Baden-Württemberg 240,000 unemployed people. Perhaps there's someone we can find for driving places in the lorry. We have only 2% of women on our trucks. But we have to change a lot of things on the road, parking places, etc. So I'm optimistic. We will find it a mix of technical things, autonomous driving perhaps, in 10 years, in 15 years, and organization.
And that's, if I understood you right, more women.
Yes, 2% is...
More women in the logistics sector, yeah? That's a very good point. So I see Alberto Chandra now on the screen. He's a supply chain manager with Ferrero. It's a very important globalized company, Ferrero, because I think Nutella is well known and kids are having, and not only kids, are having it for breakfast in Rome, in Berlin, and in Napa Valley, California. So basically everywhere. So that looks like a very complicated supply chain network.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. First of all, thanks for the invitation, because I'm very honored to be here today with you. So just let me choose two words because you talk about our products, and usually Ferrero is much more known for the products than for the company itself. Ferrero is a family group owned by the family Ferrero. The member of the family now that is the CEO is Giovanni Ferrero. The headquarters is in Luxembourg, but the origin is here in Alba, and I talk from the factory of Alba. It's a company that we are the third in the sweet packaged food in the world, and now we are the second in the world market of biscuit. Biscuit, we were in the market of biscuit since no more than 7-8 years. From chocolate and chocolate, since the 50s. What is Italy in this context? Italy is still an important market. More or less, we are the 10%, the 11% of the market of Ferrero, but we are even more important as production plant. So we have in Italy 4 factories. One is in Alba, and the other two are in the South Italy, and one is in the area of Pozzuolo. What does it mean this? That we produce more for export than for Italian market. And in this moment, we are more or less, we ship from Genoa port nearly the 30% of the full number of containers that Ferrero ship around the world from its 22 factories. This is I think the key point. So, and due to the dimension of our factory, we not only have an inbound for raw materials coming worldwide for our needs, but Italy is, and Genoa port in primis, is the gate of inbound for Europe of some raw materials.
So without Genoa, no globalized Ferrero.
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. So even if Genoa was the main port in the 80s, in the 90s, but even now that we are much more globalized, it's still the most important port. This is the key point. So, and we have really a big support by all the players in the area.
So it's correct to name Genoa as a Nutella port.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a very fine and well-observed conclusion now. Thank you, Bruno. But it's not only Nutella port, I think.
But even Rocher port, not only
many dimensions. Thank you very much, Mr. Chandra. Thank you very much, and see you next time. So I think we can carry on now and invite our panelists on stage, right?
I invite the participants to the following roundtable to join us, please. Okay, the first question, I'm still a journalist, at least. And I have to make a journalist question. What is the main reason that attracted a very important northern-oriented group such as Hapag-Lloyd to invest in the Port of Genoa?
Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thanks a lot for the invitation to participate here. Yeah, why Hapag-Lloyd investing in Genoa? I mean, for us, it's a very logic decision, and that is not starting just now. Italy is the biggest country where we do business in the Mediterranean Sea, and Genoa is the biggest port where we operate in Genoa. Actually, Hapag-Lloyd is the biggest customer in terms from a carrier point of view into all the terminal infrastructure in the Port of Genoa. Genoa is also the link and the gateway to the triangle, industrial triangle that links Milano, Torino, and Genoa. Certainly the biggest market. This is the city where we have decided to create our regional office. This is where we have most of our employees in Italy. And I have to also say that at the time that we see all those investments coming into Genoa, and something that we value a lot, which is the extremely good alignment and coordination between the main stakeholders to make this project possible, is something that has opened our eyes in terms of even going further and making investments now from a terminal point of view in order to secure the future of Hapag-Lloyd in Genoa as a main operator, but also to be part of this major change that is happening in this relevant part of the world. We want to be part, we want to enjoy and to take a very leading role on that.
I would have a question for your colleague, Mr. Müller. Same issue, basically. We talked about Italy now as a target. What about geographical international strategy? What is the underlying strategy? Is this a question of geographical diversification or rather business diversification? What is the plan? What is the map road?
I would say that Hapag-Lloyd, as in the past, is pure shipping, container shipping, very much focused. And what we have done recently is also increasing our footprint into strategic locations around the world for terminals. So we, as part of our strategy, we want to have shares or ownership in strategic locations, transshipment hub, but also very important gateways, which we think Genoa is one, in order to have also more security and more saying also to develop those locations for us and our customers. And so Hapag-Lloyd has invested in Genoa. We are also pursuing other investment around the Med. But Genoa is certainly one of those things that has a lot of potential also for us being there as a major carrier in the market. As Juan Pablo already explained, it's really a big location for Hapag-Lloyd, not only within Europe, but also globally.
One last question to our friend from Hapag-Lloyd. You are our guest, our main guest today here in Munich. From your preferential point of view, do you forecast a more balanced equilibrium of traffic between the northern range and the southern range ports?
Yeah, I mean, I think something that we miss to say here is that certainly we see Genoa as a very clear gateway. And it's a gateway that needs to be developed. It's a gateway with all the investments that they were shown before. Certainly the catchment area of Genoa will increase, okay? And this will increase from our point of view clearly to south of Germany, clearly to Switzerland. And of course, that will deviate flows that are currently being loaded, for example, from Asia to the north, going through Genoa and being with maybe 5 to 6 days less of transit time, and also with a very reliable gateway into those final destinations. For that, I mean, to make this possible is, and to attract those volumes, you know, it's so important all the investments that we have here, because the whole chain has to be very efficient. So we as carriers have to be able to operate with the biggest vessels possible that are needed for the certain markets. Currently, we are the biggest vessel we operate in Genoa is a 15,000 TEU vessel that we load, I mean, every week from Asia, another 13,000 TEU vessel, but we need more options. And I mean, those investments will create more options on more terminals, but also to be able to operate bigger assets of Hapag-Lloyd in Genoa. And that means lower cost of operation, and that means to be able to offer more competitive cost structure to Italian exporters, Italian importers, but also the ones that will become major users of this gateway, you know, coming mainly and related to south of Germany and Switzerland.
Thank you very much.
Questions for you and the colleague from Maersk. Price pressure is very high. And it seems like the price pressure in the business is getting even higher after COVID. How do you deal with that? Is it possible to adapt to price pressures without losing revenues? And how?
Yeah, the point of price is definitely something that has come up again after 2 years of what we call non-normal situation. So the post-COVID has been absolutely non-normal. What we call the current moment is the normalization as such. One element of price is, of course, the size of the vessels. So the bigger the vessel, the more economies of scale. That's a given. But it's also given by the market. So in a weak market, you need to follow the prices anyway, regardless of the size of the vessels. So calling ports that can take big vessels is an advantage, because then you have more possibility of following the market. But we are all price takers. We're not price deciders.
That's the problem, yeah. What about Hapag-Lloyd? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I do believe that the price topic is a topic that is happening today. We are talking about investments for Genoa, which are long-term. They will come a little bit later. I mean, we expect there's going to be a supply crisis, but that will also end at a certain time. And we hope that this will end, I mean, even before then, the major investments will be really materialized in Genoa. But I think from our point of view, we need to, with all the stakeholders, we need to make sure that we put a very competitive cost structure in the whole chain. And that means from a terminal point of view, from a size of vessels point of view, from the hinterlands, Terzo Valico, and the rail connectivity, it has to be competitive, okay? In order to compete with North, in order to allow the main users, you know, to be running their business, you know, with reasonable cost structures. So I think that today we have the issue of the rates. Tomorrow we don't know. We really need to make sure that the whole cost structure is competitive for the long term. And that way we all stakeholders, you know, will serve that situation in a better way.
So that would be my question. What is your forecast for the next years for the costs? That would be also an important point maybe for the ports themselves.
For the cost?
Yeah, the forecast for the costs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see revenues going down, we don't see costs going down. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I mean, if you go even after COVID, you take all the disruption costs that came during the last 2 years, you take them all out, and actually they disappear very fast. I'm talking about storage, I'm talking about waiting outside the ports and so on. But those costs are mainly out of the system already. But the news is that even taking those costs out, the standard cost of operation, at least from our side, is still higher than pre-COVID cost, and not by little numbers. So they remain very high. And this is like the major challenge that we have. Because as you comment, revenues is a little bit more difficult to control. Cost, you have certain control. So as Hapag-Lloyd, we are mainly focusing on how to build up a cost structure which is reasonable for the future, but it's not going down, not even bunker, not even the cost structure on the ports. And we were talking about the hinterland and the lack of drivers, and also everything is a little bit more expensive than before. And that's why we try to focus on the things that we can really control. And I think the main message on all the presentation and slides that we have seen is how to make a more competitive logistic platform, not only for north of Italy, but also to extend that into other countries, which is our main focus, and that's why we really want to play a leading role as a carrier here.
One question, especially to my friend Marco Donati, General Manager Costco Shipping Lines, but also to the representative of Maersk. The pandemic created two major changes. One, the just-on-time formula is no longer alive, most probably. Secondly, most probably there will be a reshoring process in Morocco, for example, that will create new opportunities, but also new challenges for shipping lines. Within this framework, the role of the Port of Genoa will be that of enlarging the catchment area and creating a sort of not a regional port, but a hub port for new logistics.
Okay, so logistics and shipping is an industry which you have to adapt to major change. So I mean, in shipping, we never face a year similar to the previous year. So I mean, we are an industry which have to adapt to a lot of different situations. Surely COVID teach us a lot of things and teach us as well that just in time is not anymore a practicable solution. But we have also to know that still some production in some countries is still have a very high qualities. So I do not see a major changes in the production on the production area. Surely Turkey, Morocco could be a new develop for our industry, but still we are believing that Asia will be still the stronger part in this in the production area.
Yeah, I agree with what the colleague has said. Big learning from the COVID time. I witnessed because I was dealing with short sea just before my recent posting. All the activity that has been moving not as a substitution to Asia, but as an addition to Asia. So the point is not only nearshoring, but also friendshoring. So sourcing the products from some economies that are closer first, but also in a more stable and better political environment than what we've seen in some of the Asian countries in general, not necessarily China. With regards to the question about the hub port, I think that the challenge of Genoa will be much more to move into a real and effective gateway to Europe, to Central Europe, to even Western Europe, I would say, rather than doing a hub operation. Hub operation can be done anywhere. I mean, we have hubs in Malta, we have hubs in remote locations. We hub personally as Maersk in Portside and Tangier Med. But the real challenge is to get the infrastructure up and to create a quick, efficient, and cost-effective gateway towards Europe.
You made a very good point. That would be a question that we could discuss, all of you. Globalization has entered a new phase, basically. It's not the kind of globalization as we knew it before 2019-20, and especially not before February 2022. I guess we all know why that is that way. So friendshoring, nearshoring, basically politics changes so rapidly. It can friends and enemies and friends that can change within a week now or within 24 hours. Logistic is something that needs to be organized. A port like Genoa needs to be organized. We have long-term and middle-term business plans. And how do you adapt to that very rapidly changing climate and environment in the world? Whoever wants to.
Surely I would say that not always economics is following politics. So we have had a lot of situation for which economics does not following politics. So we believe that Genova should have this own focus, which is not an abort at all. Genova is a port of entry of Europe. The Southern Gate is working very well. We have a lot of good example in Trieste, Rijeka, Koper, even in Piraeus, even in Valencia, for where the market is looking for a Southern Gate. And so Genova should be focused on this and should go ahead with the investment, should go ahead with the strategy, and they have to conclude as soon as possible such strategies, and then we will get for sure the results.
So that would also
so we have
create
to
a
be
new
determined. I mean, to go this and not to be always worried, but if, because otherwise with the if, we don't go anywhere.
The question was also, how do you adapt to friendshoring, nearshoring when things are changing? That must go very rapidly, right?
Good morning, everybody. We are part of this project, and in order to enlarge the catchment area, we decided to invest directly to develop a South European connection. We started from Switzerland, and now we started with our Stuttgart train, because this is the solution, and we are aware that no one company can alone win this challenge, but we have to work as a system. So we have to have a very efficient terminal operator, MTO, shipping line. So we have to work and to create a system that can create a very good opportunity through Genova by enlarging the market, the catchment area. This is where we are investing now.
You're talking about the Stuttgart-Genoa line now.
Yeah, right. We just start. We had already the Switzerland connection. Now we start with Stuttgart, but this is just the beginning, because the goal is to create a network connecting South Europe with Genova.
Basically, and the nucleus is that Stuttgart-Genoa thing, I suppose, because this is basically the, how would you say in Italian, the tangenziale, I suppose, right?
Yeah, right. We would like to create a very efficient, competitive, and reliable system. That's what we are working on.
In the past decades, the incredible weapon for Northern Range ports were the Deutsche Bahn logistics system. Now, do you think that the Southern Europe railways companies are ready to offer the more important logistic region, including Lombardy, the Port of Genoa, the Port of Savona, but also the Piedmont, are able to provide and to challenge the same thing?
Yes, they are, because we are already providing. All the system is growing because big investments are on the way. The network is improving. We showed that the situation changed with the Switzerland. We have the proof that Genova can be the right solution for South Europe. So we have a lot of factors to be considered. Now everybody is paying attention to CO2 emission by using the Genova gateway to reach Middle East, Far East market is by far convenient, even from a sustainability point of view. So we have many advantages, and this is a model that will increase in the future.
Thank you very much, Massimiliano Ricciardi. The well-established group in the Port of Genoa, the oldest perhaps established group in the Port of Genoa, apart of a very short break when they move to the Port of La Spezia many years ago. From your point of view, the connection and the network between the port and the intermodal areas, intermodal terminal, might be, from the strategic point of view, the mainly point to be pursued.
First of all, thanks so much for the opportunity you give us to bring our vision and to show a bit our project. we believe, especially right now, thanks to the authorities, to the opportunities that the infrastructure developments are giving to all the cluster, especially now, we believe a lot in the possibility to invest on the land side. We are on duty, especially for a company like us, that we are more regional in comparison with my colleagues. So especially now, with the infrastructure development, with our intention to invest in the network, we are trying more and more to link the port side, so our marine terminal IMT in the port of Genoa, with our inland terminal. So more and more at the moment, actually in the port of Genoa, we are one of the first operator in terms of train. We have today a daily connection from the IMT terminal to Sagrate, for instance, so right in the door of Lombardy area and straight to Germany and to the North Europe. And the same to Emilia-Romagna, to Dinazzano, Reggio Emilia. So we strongly believe in the logistics on the land side, and we are on duty, especially now, to develop our local network. Then, if I have a chance, I would like to tell also that our ambition is to try to connect and to integrate our local network with the international network, and what we are trying to do the same, for, especially in the traditional areas where Messina is located, like Tanzania, like Kenya, like North Africa, like Red Sea area, where we are opening some terminals, some empties and inland depot.
All potential reshoring countries.
Exactly.
The so-called friendly reshoring. You know?
Exactly. That's at least I told you before. In comparison with my important colleagues and important company worldwide, we are a regional company, but at least in some areas we are very well located. We are very well familiar. So, for instance, next week I will be in Dar es Salaam. We are taking 30,000 square meters within TPA, Port Authority of Tanzania Port Authority, to open an area dedicated to our logistics and to the moves for Messina vessel. So it's the right example. In Tunis, we are doing the same. In Jeddah, we just opened an inland depot just behind the ports, the container ports. We are on duty to take the chance. It's up to us. It's up to us now to take the chance. And again, thanks to the authorities for the opportunities and for the big effort that you are taking and that you will take in the next years.
I would have one last question. Andrea Maronge from Stuttgart made a very interesting remark before. He said that Germans have the tendency to see the glass rather half empty than to see it half full, which is definitely not wrong. I don't want to comment too much on that since I'm German, but that's right. But taking this into account, how do you foresee the world of logistics? We have so many restraints, so many problems, so many challenges. Well, let's not talk about problems. Managers always say there aren't any problems in the world. It's all challenges. Very good perspectives for logistics. What is your opinion?
Surely, yes, very good perspective. I mean, in the business, you have to be always positive because pessimism is very negative. Okay, so I mean, it's the dad of the business, the pessimism. So I believe that we should adapt to the new changes and the new challenging, and the good one will do better, and the less good one will try to follow. But I'm very positive for the future.
So we both see the half of the glass full.
I was hoping that.
Even if it's a little bit less than half, we still look at it full. Okay, and I think that is the way Hapag-Lloyd does it. That is the way that we have created our culture. This is the way that we think you have to be successful. It's so easy to see the half of the glass empty. When you analyze, I mean, Mr. Signorini showed the high percentage of sea transport. Then if you go to the whole transport and you see the share of what is in containers, you see countries that are growing in terms of inhabitants, 2, 3, 5, 6 times more than the average of the world. You see the chances or the changes from companies looking at the China +1, looking at Southeast Asia productions in order to put flows into Europe. You see Africa, which is growing a lot. You see this huge project here that we're talking about. These are huge opportunities that we are building and trying to create all together. Not because the world is so bright, not because the glass is always full, but I think it's half full. We look at it as full, and we contribute to be 3/4 full with our optimism, with our way to do the business, because there's so many opportunities that only with this alignment with authorities, private companies, port terminals, forwarders, if we are all together, actually 50% of those opportunities that you see in the world, you materialize them at the end of the day. And then you get more competitive, because you are totally right. I mean, we also know that companies and people, many of them also see the half of the glass empty. And I think we are lucky because of that, because the ones that do not see it really get the business.
I think that with the COVID, we learn even another lesson. How logistics is important for the industry to make the country competitive. So this is the reason why we have to develop a very competitive, very efficient logistics, and it will be important in the future as well.
We can say that the industry discover our logistics is
Right,
important.
right.
You want?
To be honest, after coronavirus, I would like to avoid the word positive. So allow me to say optimist, not talk about positive. So I'm really optimist, as my colleagues. I strongly believe that we had a great lesson. Roberto is absolutely right. So all the industry understood the logistics and the integration of the logistics, the integration in the network is the key point. So more and more, the bigger group, our smaller group, everybody, all the cluster got the lesson. So we must be optimists, because more and more we will integrate, all of us, the networks, the connection, intermodality, we strongly believe in it. And I'm sure that everybody believes in it. So optimist, we are optimists.
Well, I must be optimist, and I stress I must. I remember when I joined transportation and logistics, one of the guys that gave me the interview told me, look around you. About 95% of what you see around you, so chairs, plywood to make the stands, floats, glasses, have been transported in containers. So this is just the key. What I think is extremely important is how to make this logistic more and more efficient, more and more green, environmentally friendly. Going through Genoa will save some sailing, so will reduce the amount of pollution that we do, and how we build a better future for our future generation, because logistics is there to stay. We just need to make it more efficient, more green, faster, better, more agile. That's the challenge.
I would like to add also something, because today we did not talk at all about this, but also digitalization is very important. I mean, the world is talking a lot about digitalization. So, I mean, together with the breakwater, together with all this important infrastructure, we have to build a very important infrastructure of digitalization, because the market is going in this direction for sure.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. Before giving the last word to to the Vice Minister of Infrastructure and Transport in Italy, Edoardo Rixi. I just wanted to say two words. The first, that this short conference, but very concentrated conference, said one word. We are not speaking any longer about a pie in the sky, a dream that cannot be converted in reality. We are speaking about the possibility of creating a real strong Southern Europe logistic area, including train service, railway connection, new motorways, and especially a very efficient port system. Secondly, that is up to us to understand that the interest expressed during this round table, but also during the previous round table by an industry representative, are not just words, are the proof that something is really changing. Now, the conclusive remarks to Edoardo Rixi, good friend. He knows very well everything about we discussed.
Thanks. So I try to speak in English. Only few key message. First of all, for us, it's really important for Italian ports to be here in Monken, because this is for Italy one of the most important markets for our industry, for our logistics system, and in the future. We think that the Alps have to connect the nation, not to divide. So we need to invest, and our vision is that in the next years, we have to invest more money to develop a railway system and connection. Also, you know, green system to use the tracks, because you know that in our logistics system in Italy, the 90% of all the things that go in a container system, in everything, go by trucks. And this will be for I think, for the next 20 years, maybe. It's difficult that we change in few years this kind of system, because our country, it's a country with a lot of mountain, and we have more bridges or tunnel than all the Europe. So for us to change the mobility system, it's really a hard work. But we are going to try and to develop the connection with Switzerland and with Austria to develop a new system through the Alps. So the digitalization for us, it's really important, not only in our railway, but also in the trucks. We have to understand that also the changement about the new intelligent system to drive trucks or the green system that you can use hydrogen or other system for trucks, for us will be really, you know, a key word for the future. We are going to build up in Genoa, for example, the biggest dig in our system, port system. It's by PNRR. It will be an investment of about 1 billion euro, and for us will be the changement, completely the change of the movement of the ships in the ports area. We need also to terminate some important connection. Terzo Valico dei Giovi will be finished in 25. It changed completely, in the connection system from the ports to the hinterland and to Padania area. For us, we will also build a new law about interports in the Italian region, because we have to investment
to invest public investments with also private investors. Maybe we need the investments of MSC or the other partners, because we have to build up a system that is definitely efficient. Today, our system, our port system, is not really have one goal. I think that we have to found 2-3 goals together from Genova, but also for the other port system, and we have to have the same digitalization system, the same language with every ports, because we need to develop the capacity of the Mediterranean area of logistic base for Europe. And this will be to connect Mediterranean area with the North Europe or the Central Europe. We have two important chances for the future. One will be the African area, the continent of Africa, that will be, I think that in 20-30 years, change a lot of things there. And Italy could be a bridge between Europe and these new markets. And the second choice that we have, the second chance, challenge that we at our system have, is between the reconstruction in Ukraine, but also the all the east parts of the Mediterranean Sea that today have a lot of problems, but we can build up a good solution for all the Europe. So if we go in this direction, Europe could be not against the, or maybe in competition with the North area, but complementary. Maybe we can build up a really European team that can build up the second logistic base of the European industry. And this is a really challenge that we have. We are going to study. We will build up a new law also for the sea and for the port system next years. So for us, it's important that today there is the Ports of Genoa, the most important authority system in Italy, but also the other ports, because each port in Italy have a different markets. And for us, it's really important to build up a system together that the traffic in Italy is not, in competition for one port to the other ports, but from the Mediterranean area, which other part of area. Next month, I'll go to Singapore to study also with them the logistics system, also the idea to make alliance between the traffic of the new degeneration system. We need to have the possibility to have more traffic in Europe, to build up important logistic base, but also to build up it together. For us, it's important, for example, to have access directly in Germany or in France, to build up a different also communication between Italian ministry, the Ministry of Germany or the France, because we have a lot of problem to build up it integrates logistics system in Europe with the country don't speak one with the other. And so this is I think it's also a signal that we want to give today, that the massive presence here of Italian ports. We want that Italy, it's not only ports of the Italy, but are ports of Europe. And this it's really the really challenge that we have, to win for for our future. Because if it's not like this, it's really difficult to think that to build up big investment in Italy can change the logistics system in this continent. So for us, it's really important this, and I think that in next year we can go to invest also after 2026 a lot of money to develop our digital system and our connection system by railway, but also by autoroute, because we think that it's really important to don't stop, you know, the evolution of the system, but also we need the quotidianity. Before you said about COVID, for us is really a test of the resilience of our system. And we say today we know that the Italian system, logistics system, is very resilient. We can't change with a diminution of this resilience system. So the change have to be, but every time we have known that the resilience of the logistics system for our industry is vital. So this is an aspect that we have to understand when we invest also in new technology, because electrify everything could be good, but we need also to guarantee the possibility that sometimes with problems we have not electricity in one area and we can't use logistics system in this area. And this is one of the aspects that today our government is going to study with other European nation, because we have to learn with the experience of the last years. We can't go through without understand what's happened before. This is one message that I have to say, because usually we look, you know, what will be, but no, we don't look what is today. We need to live today and to look for the future. And these two aspects for our logistics system is fundamental. If it's not, we have a cesure, and in this case, we need to have a stop of increase of production, industry production, and everything in our European countries. Oh, we are here. I think that Italy can give a lot of solution for logistic problem in Europe, but we have to work together. And this is really the message that I want to do and I want to give to today, because sometimes I think there's this message to work together, private, public, all European nation. Is not easy that each one understand, because each one think that have a good solution, we don't need the other one, but it's not like this. It's when the team, it's not when only one person also is a genius. We need a resilient system. We need all the team is involved on the challenge. So thank you. Have a good day today, and good wind, like say in sail, and so have I think a good business today, and maybe for the stranger come in Italy and see our ports, that it's really interesting to see the ports.
So thank you very much to the speakers and to the institution. And here follows a typical Ligurian lunch offered by Liguria International, the Chamber of Commerce, and Assagenti. So please stay with us and enjoy the typical Ligurian light lunch.